further into this conflict?
You know, John, I'm author of the book on killing. International bestseller. Google Scholars have been cited over 3,500 times in scholarly works. And I talk about atrocity and the evil empowerment of atrocity. We look at these mindless attacks on Israeli civilians, and we think that they're mindless, but they're not. The Nazi Germans had the same dynamic in place in which they entrap their civilization by committing these horrible acts. Once somebody has committed an act like that, and once their nation is invested in a horrendous act, whether it's the Holocaust or whether it's the slaughter of Israeli citizens, then they're trapped. The fighters are trapped. They can't surrender. Nazi Germany could not surrender. They had to fight to the bitter last. There was no armistice. There was no surrender against such evil. And Israel is faced with another dynamic of people who have sold out this. It's an empowerment. They're simultaneously entrapped and empowered by atrocity. And this atrocity in the hands of Hamas has trapped them. They cannot surrender. Israel cannot accept an armistice. They've got to hunt out the criminals who are responsible for this. And again, we talk about the fact that dropping bombs from 20,000 feet or firing artillery from 2 miles back, that's war. We accept that. These are nation on nation. But cutting the heads off of babies, packing people into the gas chamber, women and children at the Holocaust, or this most recent horrible event, we got to understand that there is no surrender to such thing. There's no armistice with such people.
And yet,
they have intentionally placed themselves in this environment.
There is substantial protest in favor of the Palestinian side in the halls of Congress and on the streets of the United States. Why do you think it is that, having seen the barbaric behavior of Hamas, that people are still taking the side?
We saw the same thing in World War II. You know, Lindbergh, who flew solo across the Atlantic, the foremost aviator of his time, was completely frozen out of World War II because he was a Nazi supporter. He was a Hitler supporter. Before they even realized what Hitler represented, there was this big, enormously big group. We probably would not have been able to actually declare war on Germany. They declared war on us after Pearl Harbor. There were these Nazi sympathizers who really hadn't fully grasped the magnitude of the evil. And they were politically and professionally destroyed from that point on. And this is where we are today. These sympathizers with Hamas have got to be treated like we would treat Nazi sympathizers in America during the early stages of World War II. This dynamic of this empowerment that is created by atrocity. There's only one. They've burned all their bridges. There's only one direction they can go, and that is death or glory. And we see something very similar in our cities today. When crime leaders demand murderous behavior, and then they entrap criminals in that same dynamic. It's a vicious and tragic cycle, but the end to it is to do the right thing on our part.
It's hard to believe that people could look at what happened to those Israeli civilians and feel any affinity for Hamas. Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman, thank you.